Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I hate to interrupt what sounds like great conversation, but I am pleased to welcome you to our 2022 New Student Convocation. My name is Dean Lombard, and I have the honor to serve ESF as the Executive Student Affairs Officer and Dean of Students. Members of the Platform Party, faculty and staff members, guests, and especially our new students. It is my pleasure to officially welcome you to our 2022 New Student Convocation. Through this event, we welcome our new students, as well as acknowledge and welcome back our continuing students as you embark on this adventure in learning that we call ESF. Thank you all for being here to celebrate together the start of our new academic year. As we begin our convocation this afternoon, I want to recognize that our campus resides within the original territory of the Haudenosaunee, or Iroquois Confederacy. This acknowledgement represents our commitment to intellectual and cultural pluralism and is meant to honor the significant contributions of the Onondaga Nation to environmental leadership. We are grateful for previous and ongoing collaborations with the Onondaga Nation. Let me begin by introducing our platform party for this event. Please rise as I call your name. ESF's President, Joni Mahoney. Syracuse University Chancellor, Kent Sibirud. ESF Executive Vice President and Provost, Samuel Mukasa. And finally, I am pleased to introduce our student speaker this afternoon, Silas Cochran, who is the president of the Mighty Oaks Student Assembly. Next, I will introduce the academic department chairs and directors in the front couple of rows. Please stand as I call your name, and audience, please hold your applause until all have been introduced. Dr. Bandaru Ramarao, Chemical Engineering. That's okay. Dr. Lee Newman, Chemistry. Dr. Steve Teal, Environmental Biology. Dr. Lindy Quackenbush, Environmental Resources Engineering. Dr. Russell Briggs, Division of Environmental Science. Dr. Chris Nowak, Sustainable Resources Management. Dr. Neil Abrams, Director of the Open Academy. And Ms. Kitty McCarthy, our Associate Provost for Enrollment Management. And I need to look quickly and make sure I didn't forget anyone. Finally, I'd like to introduce the other members of the college's executive cabinet who are with us this afternoon. I'm pleased to introduce Susan Head, our Chief Financial Officer, and Matt Millay, who is our Executive Director for Strategic Initiatives. And Reagan Squire, our Executive Director for Administration, who is in the back. Thank you for that. Before I invite President Mahoney to come forward to the podium to offer her welcome and remarks, I want us to enjoy a very short video entitled Plant One Tree Every Day. Now please join me in welcoming to the podium our president, Joni Mahoney.
Thank you, and welcome. That was Jadav Payeng, if I'm saying his name right, and he's known as the Forest Man of India. And it's a very inspiring video with which to start this new academic year here at ESF. I also want to welcome our students, our faculty, and our staff that are here. Welcome, Chancellor Sibirud. Thank you very much for the incredible partnership that you share with us as Chancellor of Syracuse University. I've had the opportunity this week to speak with first-year students, new transfer students, international students, grad students, and GAs, among others. So there's probably not very many people in this room that haven't already heard from me this week. I hope you all know how thrilled we are that you're here and the gratitude that we feel for you coming and sharing your time and talent with us. I hope you've also heard from multiple people, including myself, about all ESF has to offer. And you'll hear too from Chancellor Sibirud about how welcome we all are at the Syracuse University campus and the clubs and the organizations that we are part of over there at Syracuse. I hope that you have all heard that while we are a challenging, rigorous academic school, we also have supports and feel very much invested in your success here. You have all proven that you belong here. As I said, we've looked at your credentials, we've read your personal statements, and we are thrilled to have chosen you and for you to have chosen us. And starting today, starting Monday, we are in this together, and we will help you with anything you need. All you have to do is ask. But it's one of the wonderful parts about ESF that we are a small enough school that you'll get to know faculty, you'll get to know staff. I hope you get to know administrators, and that we very much want to help you while you're here. So since you have heard that, I want to tell you something that I haven't yet mentioned this week, and that's just a little snippet of some of the work that's done here at ESF. This video was incredibly inspiring about the work that this gentleman has done by planting a tree every day for 37 years. What you may not yet know, and you will learn, is how deeply ESF is involved in restoration work. Our own Bill Powell was featured recently on 60 Minutes with his work in the American chestnut tree. The American chestnut was a tree that was critically important in this country, and it was said that a squirrel could walk from New England all the way to Georgia just on the branches of the American chestnut tree. But in the early 1900s, blight struck, and it wiped out between 3 and 4 billion American chestnut trees, 3 or 4 billion trees. And that's where the science and research came in. Fortunately, the root structures for those American chestnuts exist because it's not until they come above the ground and reach a certain height that the blight takes them. So we have some of that genetic material that Bill Powell and his team has been able to work with. And they've discovered a gene that can be added to the American chestnut tree to make it resistant to that blight. And we've actually grown American chestnut trees here at ESF. A tree that is known as essentially extinct is actually growing here at ESF, and the time is coming for us to share that tree. Dr. Powell and his team have been working with the federal government and others to get the necessary approvals to make these blight-resistant American chestnut trees available to the public. It will be the first time that an extinct tree has been brought back, and that's work that's been done right here at ESF. Imagine now if every one of us in this room planted one of those American chestnut trees every day. Look at the effect of one person planting trees and the forest and the ecology, the whole ecosystem that came back as a result of the work that Jadav Payeng has done. Collectively, we can have a huge impact on our world. And this story is even more broadly a good metaphor for the change that we can make no matter what it is we're doing, if we do it patiently and we do it diligently every single day. Here at ESF, we aren't just restoring trees. Faculty's working on air quality issues, the deoxygenation of our oceans, building landscapes and infrastructure resilient to climate change, informing what environmental justice policies should look like, and hundreds of other areas of research to improve our world. The work is being done here today at ESF, and we're thrilled to welcome you here to join us. Your job now is going to be to show up every day, put the work in every single day, like Jadav did with the forest, and patiently and diligently do your part. And when you look back on the time that you spent here at ESF, you will be amazed at what you too will have accomplished. So I wish you all the best, and I'll be right here to work alongside you. And it is my honor now to introduce to you the 12th Chancellor of Syracuse University, who began his tenure here in 2014. Chancellor Sibirud has supported all of us at ESF in multiple ways. He is very welcoming of our students as part of the SU community. Our faculty conduct research with his faculty, and the Chancellor says yes to everything we ask of him. We are truly grateful for the wonderful partner and friend that we have in Chancellor Sibirud and his team at Syracuse. Welcome, Chancellor.
Well, I'm going to be brief. I think you've probably heard a lot of speeches this week, and it's almost the weekend, and I know forestry students pretty well, as I'll explain, and a lot of the action happens on the weekends with forestry students. What I want you to know is that I'm grateful to President Mahoney and to everybody at this wonderful school for their work all year long, including on this ceremony, and for including me in this as in so much else here. And I want to join in welcoming you not just to SUNY ESF, but also to Syracuse University. I have known ESF for more than 40 years. I grew up in Irondequoit, not that far from here on Lake Ontario, and for an odd reason, I think I have a window into the old days of this school. So my identical twin brother went to school at Upstate, and he lived the entire time, 5 years, with ESF students, a group of ESF students, just off of Ostrom Avenue, which you will discover is near Euclid, just off campus. And so I spent a lot of time with him and with them 5 years. And he was profoundly influenced by this group of students. I remember them mostly from weekends as smart and independent and idiosyncratic and big on the Adirondacks and biology and trees. But most memorable of all, they were really excellent home brewers. What I want you to know is that you have an influence on all the people you interact with here, and that includes many people from Syracuse University and from SUNY Upstate. There's a lot of us on the Hill. And my brother is a great example of that. So he was an EMT, and he became an emergency medicine physician after he graduated here. And he ended up as the head of emergency medicine at the University of Virginia as a professor there, and worked in the emergency room with the EMTs. But his passion that whole time, because of his experience, mostly camping in the Adirondacks with the people he lived with, was forestry and trees. And so he had this project inspired by students here to basically do everything he could at the university to restore native species of trees to the Virginia campus and to the Charlottesville area, which he did. And I was with him a couple weeks ago, and he gave me the shocking news that he is going to retire. People retire early from emergency medicine. Don't look for me retiring anytime soon. And I asked him, what are you going to do? And he's going to become a forester. Because of what, lifelong passion he learned here. So hopefully some of you will realize that your teaching as well as learning, and you're teaching a lot of Syracuse students and SUNY students too along the way. President Mahoney pointed out to you that SUNY ESF and Syracuse University have a really wonderful, extraordinary relationship. We share a lot of alumni and friends. There's so many dual degrees. We share libraries and recreation facilities and research and researchers. There's so much great research that has come from joint project of students at both schools and faculty at both schools. We are equals and peers as institutions. We each have a unique mission, but at our best, we are symbiotic organisms in a beneficial and mutually sustaining relationship. And as you will study, I suspect here, there's all kinds of symbiosis. There's parasitic symbiosis. That's not us, okay? The benefits go both ways, which is why it's easy to say yes. Because of that special relationship, you as ESF students and Syracuse students have the benefit of being able to use many great services and support systems of the other school. And that includes enrolling in each other's classes. So you can learn an amazing array of languages here, well beyond what a small college would normally offer, for example. We use each other's libraries. We use each other's recreational services. We take part in each other's student activities. And for Syracuse University, that's pretty breathtaking. It ranges from dozens of club sports. There is a club sport in almost anything you have ever done as an athlete, I assure you. And there's lots of people from around the world participating in them. There's 13 chaplaincies in virtually every major faith with chaplains assigned to them. There are concerts, there is esports, and there's going to be a lot more esports shortly. There is outdoor travel, there is advocacy, all kinds of advocacy groups. More than 1,000 EF students have now been to my home for receptions or dinners or activities since I came in 2014. And I know from those interactions that current ESF students are wonderful, committed, inspired, decent human beings. And I know your upper class students will expect you to be the same. While the mutual relationship between SUNY ESF and Syracuse has existed for many decades, both institutions change all the time, as great academic institutions do. President Mahoney and I have been working recently, including with your Chief Academic Officer, Provost Mukasa. We've been working to evolve this strong relationship, and particularly emphasizing how to make it stronger academic and with research. And I thank you for helping in that effort. So I encourage you all to become fully involved in all of Syracuse University, to explore all campuses. It's not over there and you're not over here. It's kind of one thing that's all available to you. And I mention that to you because we welcomed more than 4,000 new students in the JMA Dome yesterday, 4,000, right? Which is probably more than the enrollment of all of ESF. Yeah. And they joined 22,000 students here from all 50 states, all US territories, from 120 countries, right? So in terms of, there's a lot of interesting people of any kind, any interest, any background you can imagine. And there's a critical mass of almost everything there too. So I just encourage you to find your home with all the people who are here on the Hill, including the upstate students who are amazing as well, and all the Syracuse University students. And I think you'll have an even richer experience than this great college can give you by that work. Thank you so much. Welcome to Syracuse University.
Thank you, Chancellor. That was very nice of you, and I'm happy for your identical twin brother on his retirement, and happier to hear that you're not retiring anytime soon. So we're happy to have you here with us. It is now my distinct honor to introduce you to our keynote speaker for today's convocation, our Executive Vice President and Provost, Dr. Samuel Mukasa. Dr. Mukasa joined the executive team here at ESF in November of this last year. I can't believe that it's almost a year. Wow. Sam has had a remarkable career working in higher education, and he serves as our senior academic administrator overseeing the important work of our faculty. Dr. Mukasa holds a PhD in geochemistry from the University of California, Santa Barbara, an MS, a master's in geology from The Ohio State University, and a Bachelor of Science in Geology from the University of New Hampshire. Sam is also a fellow of the American Association for the Advancement of Science and the Geological Society of America. I am thrilled to welcome Dr. Mukasa to his first official convocation as ESF's provost. Welcome, Sam.
Thank you very much, President Mahoney, and also thank you, Chancellor Sibirud, for joining us this afternoon to welcome the ESF class of 2026 or thereabouts, and our transfer students. So let me add my words of welcome to both groups of students. We are absolutely delighted that you have joined our campus. And my colleagues who have organized this event gave me instructions to keep this nice and light so that I send you home in a good mood. Well, we shall see. They tell me this is not the time for me to be lecturing you about time management, so that will come later. So it turns out that you and I have arrived on this campus within about 10 months of each other, as President Mahoney just pointed out. And prior to joining this campus, I spent most of my career at institutions that had 35,000 students, as in the University of Michigan, 12,000 students at the University of New Hampshire, and most recently, and perhaps most shockingly, at the University of Minnesota, which has 50,000 students. Okay, so shall we say the scale of things is a little different at ESF, and that's why I deliberately made the decision to end up here. In my previous administrative positions, I served as department chair at the University of Michigan, and then was Dean for Science and Engineering at two different universities, New Hampshire and Minnesota. I considered a variety of factors in reaching my decision to join ESF, and these factors probably resonate with those of you who have ended up here, and let me mention just a few. Number one, I was very interested in the rigorous undergraduate activities that our students engage in on this campus. And I liked the smallness of the campus environment. But as Chancellor Sibirud just pointed out, we are not that small when you consider the size of the neighbor and the welcoming words that the Chancellor just provided or just delivered. I'll have to whisper, since he's here, that this side of that dome you've seen, we do it at 1/5 the price. Thanks to the New York State taxpayers, including perhaps some of your moms and dads. So it should be of interest to you to learn that our urban small campus in Syracuse also has access to thousands of acres in central New York and also in the Adirondack Mountains, which provide research and field experiences for all of our students. And I encourage everyone in this room to spend some time in at least one or two of those satellite facilities. I should also mention that another attraction to ESF is our amazing faculty, staff, and also students who have a passion for the environment. If you watch the news or if you listen to talking heads on television, lately everyone has been talking about the environment. Well, ESF was there first, okay? We were there first. They're simply catching up with us. So issues such as climate change, sustainability, social justice, all of these have been topics of discussion at ESF for many years. As a matter of fact, we are branded that way. You know, this is in our name, it's in our DNA. You will learn in the coming days that ESF has also now embraced the philosophy of hiring faculty in clusters around a particular research field or theme, and even if they are going to be based actually in different departments. You'll find increasingly that unlike when I went to university back at the end of the last ice age, that now most of the research that's being done tends to be very multidisciplinary, that you're not limiting yourself to being in just one department, but that you can cut across multiple disciplinary boundaries, because the complex issues we are dealing with as a society actually require that not limiting ourselves to simply a single department. The final thing I'll say that attracted me to ESF is this commitment to make the place affordable, so affordability and student success, and the strong outcomes that we would like to see. And in fact, our graduates and alumni are in demand and find excellent placements in the workforce and also in graduate and professional schools. Now, my handlers also told me to tell you about what a provost does. And when I was your age, sitting exactly where you are, you know, starting my first year of college, I had absolutely no idea that universities have provosts. Never mind what the provost did. I had absolutely no idea. And then look at what happened to me. I became one. The small lesson from that, I think, for you is keep all options open. You might become something you have never heard of, like I did. So someday you may become a provost. Think about that. So what exactly does a provost do? And I had to Google this. One of the original meanings of the word, which comes from the Middle Ages, is the provost is the keeper of the prison. But since I'm not running a jailhouse, let me say that the modern day provost is the chief academic officer of a college or a university. So what exactly does a chief academic officer do? Well, I hire the best faculty so that you'll have the best experience as a student at ESF. And I collaborate with the president and the faculty, as well as the staff for that matter, in setting our academic priorities. And I lead the exercise of creating our institutional strategic plan. All of this will start making a lot of sense the more time you spend with us at ESF. I work closely with our teams in enrollment management, in student affairs, in facilities, in K-12 outreach, and our online programming delivered by the Open Academy. So I am basically the guy you yell at when things are not going well. Now, ESF is a proud institution for engaging in environmental sustainability teaching and research, which I mentioned already. Others are just catching up with us in recent times. We are proud of the multitude of ongoing projects and initiatives which also involve undergraduate students. And I advise you to shop around at your earliest opportunity so that you become enriched by engagement in research. That's how I started. You know, when I was, I think, a junior in college, I started working in research labs, and before you know it, you actually became it. You became a scientist, okay? And at some opportune time in the future, corner me and ask me how I almost burned down a clean lab. So I've been there. I have melted Teflon. I have done all sorts of things. So let's share that experience when the time comes. Now, in terms of infrastructure operations, we hold ourselves accountable by establishing measurable goals impacting buildings and operations, carbon management, materials or waste management, energy and environmental justice, social justice, transportation, sustainability, all of those things. We practice what we preach. And our culture of environmental stewardship is catching on globally, as I pointed out. And we need more ambassadors like you. The man who was just planting trees over there, well, President Mahoney just asked you to plant a chestnut tree every day. You may have to, I guess you better not cover up our quad. So it has to be done on the peripheries somewhere, or back home. That would be absolutely fantastic. Now, let me finish off by letting you know that I have been on university campuses for close to 50 years. They tell me I look young, but actually I've been on university campuses for a very, very long time. And in those 50 years or so, not quite 50 years, but we're getting there, I have served as a department chair, I've served as a dean of a couple of different colleges, and most recently as ESF provost and executive vice president. I have made a number of observations during that journey, and I'd like to share just 5 of them with you, and that will be the last thing I say. Number one, there are vast opportunities for growth if you resist the temptation to hang out only with people who look like you or who came from your village. College affords you the opportunity to expand your horizons, and there is no better way to do that than learning about other people's lived experiences. So I encourage you to defend your opinions fiercely, but perhaps just as importantly, develop the ability to see the world through other people's eyes. Serve as the glue that puts the American family back together. Expect and embrace being challenged. ESF professors set the bar quite high, not unreasonably high, right guys? Not unreasonably high, but they do so because they would like you to become the very best that you can be. Okay, so it's really, really important to engage with the process. I remember fondly putting faculty office hours to very good use when I was a student, and I would encourage you to do the same. Make us earn our pay. You're paying us. If you have questions, if you have issues that need to be resolved, be sure to reach out to all of us. The third thing I'm going to say is that 4 years will seem like a very long time, but with the hindsight of years from now, you realize what a fleeting moment it was. Keep a journal to analyze your daily actions, and deliberately plan to make tomorrow better than yesterday. The only way to do that is to be very deliberate and think about what you've done today. And if things went awry at midday, make sure it doesn't happen the following day. And number 4, don't forget to have a great time. And get involved in as many enriching experiences as your time will allow. College is more than grades, and it's a mistake to make it all about grades. And finally, when the going gets tough, and it does from time to time for all of us, don't retreat and don't disconnect. Seek help. Talk to friends so that they will know how you feel. And we have an excellent group of professionals on campus who will be happy to help as you work through whatever issue that's bothering you at the time. Now, I will not be shy from mentioning that some of the common problems we've seen in the 10 months I've been here and elsewhere prior to me arriving here include very stressful situations, anxiety, depression, substance abuse, and so on. And again, we have a superb group of professionals that can help should any of those needs arise. Now, I was asked the other day by a visiting newspaper person that of all the places I could have lived, why did I end up in central New York? Well, I've given you partly the answer by pointing out how attractive ESF was to me, but I also have to tell you, but it's a wonderful place to live, central New York. Our Four Seasons provide great opportunity to appreciate the outdoors and to also pursue a variety of recreational activities and enjoy the amazing eateries. You know, it's quite amazing what you can find in a place like Syracuse. And I was in a meeting earlier today where this issue arose again. So everybody wants to know why you ended up in central New York. So be prepared to answer that question because people are going to be asking you. And so this morning, as we talked to a colleague who was visiting from the Rochester Institute of Technology, RIT, down the road, we pointed out that rivers and reservoirs in this part of the world are not drying up or flooding people out of their homes. Think about that. It's on the news every day. I don't know, so the Colorado River is close to dry and all of that, and it feeds millions of people. We don't have that issue here. We don't have forest fires, at least not in a huge way, the way that they do in Arizona and California and Oregon and so on. We don't have tornadoes and hurricanes as menaces, and we are not waiting for the big one, as in big earthquakes like they are in California. And from time to time, the ground in California and Washington and Oregon shakes, and there's tremendous damage. None of those are really issues here in central New York. So let me end my remarks by saying that you made a great choice in coming to ESF, and we are committed to making your educational experience a memorable one. So thank you very much. But I'm not done yet. Before I step away from the podium, let me introduce Silas Cochran, president of what used to be known as the Undergraduate Student Association, which was USA, commonly mistaken for the country. Last spring, USA rebranded itself as the Mighty Oaks Student Association, or MOSA. So, Silas.
Thank you, Provost Mukasa. I first want to say welcome to the ESF family. My name is Silas Cochran, as you just heard, and I'm the president of an organization referred to as the Mighty Oak Student Assembly, or MOSA. We are the student government on campus and represent you on a local, regional, and statewide basis. MOSA is the main channel for student concerns and ideas to be acted upon. All of the clubs on campus run through the Mighty Oak Student Assembly, allowing you to do literally anything you can imagine. We host a number of events on campus, such as morning munches, stress busters, the December soiree, and of course, the real reason we're all here, Earth Week. Looking across this room, I see future activists, scientists, and leaders. But I also see a family, not related by blood. We are all here for a common purpose. Look to your left and to your right. You are surrounded by peers, fighting towards a common goal. Together, you are embarking upon a journey of a lifetime. For many of you, this is your first time away from home, or at least living on your own. For others, this is your first time stepping foot on a college campus. That can be scary, but I can assure you that you will find your place at this school. Take this opportunity to explore new things. Join a club you've never heard of before, explore a world invisible to the human eye, or take a nap on the quad. Whatever your interests are, I urge you to step outside your comfort zone at least a little bit and challenge yourself to find out who you really are. It will be challenging. These next few years are going to be some of the most formative of your life. But you will have support. Don't be afraid to ask questions or reach out to a professor or peer. They hold a tremendous wealth of knowledge. When I first stepped foot on campus, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with my future. But after a semester of classes, the fog began to lift and my future became more clear. I ended up switching majors, and I am now loving my new major, environmental education and interpretation. You might not be sure what your dream job is right now. That's okay. Talk to your professors, take classes that you find interesting, and try new things. You will quickly find a niche that fits you. I would be remiss if I passed up this opportunity to invite you to share your voice on campus by joining the Mighty Oak Student Assembly. I encourage you to attend a few meetings and become involved on campus life. Together, we can improve the college experience for generations to come, and you can be part of making the ESF more inclusive and a productive environment. Today marks the beginning of a journey where you will encounter challenges and opportunities, but most importantly, I hope you will also find yourself surrounded by your new community. I want to thank each of you for coming out here to the new student convocation to celebrate the beginning of a new year, and I look forward to seeing you on campus. I can't wait to have you on the MOSA team. This concludes the 2022 New Student Convocation. Please allow the platform party to exit, and then I invite you to join me on the quad to commemorate the beginning of this journey with a class photo. Following that, there will be a food truck rally, and you can use your meal plan at the dining halls as well. Thank you for your time.
And go up towards the quad. We're gonna take a giant class photo. Mic isn't working. It's not hot. Oh wait, maybe this one is.